Hey everyone, welcome to the latest installment of Spicy Licks. If you are new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Campbell. This is a series I do here on this channel where I take a lick that I have either transcribed from another player or one that I've come up with myself, teach you it note for note using tab, and then after that I go into the theory behind the lick so that if you're theory minded, you can take that information, apply it to your own playing to come up with similar licks of your own, and that way you get maximum value out of the lesson. Today we're looking at a lick that I've written myself. In fact, it's so long that I don't think you could really call it a lick. It's more of a really long combination of legato runs in C Dorian with the addition of the flat 5 from the C blues scale towards the end of the lick. It starts all the way down at fret 3 and ends up at fret 17. You heard it in the intro, but let's listen to it again. First you're going to hear it to tempo and then slowed way down. So now that you've heard it a couple of times and you've had a chance to look at the tab, let's analyze what's going on theory-wise. So let's split this lick up into different sections and talk about why it sounds the way that it does. Here's part 1. As you know, we're in C Dorian. The lick starts on the root note and slides into an arpeggio on the 3rd of the scale. Then we have these hammer-ons and pull-offs from 7 to 3 on the G string, finishing with 7 to 3 on the D. What you're going to find as we go through the rest of this lick is that it's heavily based on arpeggiating different parts of the C Dorian scale. And all that means is that you're starting on a certain note, then playing a note that is a third higher than that note, and then on top of that, another note that is a third higher than the previous one, or a fifth higher than the first note in the arpeggio. Here's part 2 of the lick. From fret 3, you slide into a descending arpeggio starting on fret 5 on the G string. And once you finish with your pinky on fret 8 on the A string, you're going to pull off to fret 5, slide up to 6, and then hammer on to 10 with your pinky like so. This is putting you in position for another arpeggio within the scale starting on this fret. See, I'm arpeggiating from fret 10 there. And once you're on fret 7 on the G string, you're going to hammer on to 10 with your pinky, pull off to 7, and then slide up to 8. So far, we have this. Now, here's part 3. So continuing on from part 2, you would hammer on to fret 12 with your pinky, and then arpeggiate the scale from there once again, like so, finishing with this hammer on to fret 13. Now, here's where the lick starts to get a bit different. With your middle finger, you're going to slide from 11 to 13 on the B string, then hammer on from fret 11 to 15 on the high E. Now we take that same sequence and start it from fret 13 on the B string. So with your middle finger, slide from 13 to 16. followed by a hammer on from 13 to 18 on the high E string. Real quick while I've got you here, if you're watching this as someone who isn't very familiar or familiar at all with the Dorian mode or the modes of the major scale, chances are you're going to have a hard time digesting the information that I'm teaching you in this video. If that is the case for you, I would recommend looking into my online guitar courses, Bulletproof Guitar Player Parts 1 and 2. Part 1 teaches you fundamental theory that can be applied to the guitar, such as the major scale, intervals, triads, and so much more. Part 2 builds on this material and delves into the modes of the major scale, like the one we're using in today's video, Dorian. It teaches you how and when to use each mode and provides you with multiple soloing examples, giving you guys a whole bunch of licks to practice. Links to purchase both courses are in the description box below. And now here's part 4. If you've watched any of my lessons on Joe Bonamassa and Eric Johnson, this might sound a bit familiar to you. We're now moving to more of a pentatonic / blues scale sound here. And I'm using sequences of odd note groupings. So yes, you can use Dorian in combination with those scales, with the minor pentatonic and the blues scale. So starting at fret 15 on the high E, you're going to descend the minor pentatonic scale in a sequence of 3 like so. Then you're going to return to 15 on the high E and descend in a sequence of 5 so that you land on fret 15 on the G string. If you want to know more about these sequences of notes that I'm talking about odd note groupings, check out my lessons on Eric Johnson's Cascading Pentatonics and Joe Bonamassa's Pentatonic Sequences. Both are available for free on this YouTube channel. So we've had our sequence of 3, then our sequence of 5, and then from 15 on the G we're going to ascend the minor pentatonic scale. Okay, let's add that to the rest of the lick. So we've just reached fret 15 at the end of part 4. Now you're going to pull off to the flat 5 of the blues scale at fret 14 and play this. Then 16 and pull off to 13 on the B. And then what you're going to do is sort of shift your finger position. So you're going to move your middle finger to fret 13 on the high E. Pick that note followed by 15 on the B and pull off to 11. Finishing on fret 12 on the G string. Then with your pinky on fret 15 on the B string, pull off to 11. And finally, the last part of the lick goes like this. So looking at this from the end of part 5, which we just looked at, we've got the pull off from 15 to 11 on the B string, and then now in this final part of the lick, from there we're going to hammer on to 13. So this right here, that's the first note that you see in this part of the lick. Then we move to 14 and pull off to 11 on the G string and slide up to fret 12, then hammer on to 14, slide up to 15, and then 13 on the B, 13 on the high E, and hammer on to fret 17. Now fret 11 on the G string, that's the flat 5 of the C blues scale here. So it's not something I would consider an outside note, but in this context, because I'm coming at it from a higher note at fret 14, it kind of sounds like it is. So from there I just, slide up and finish the lick like so. And before I put this together with the rest of the lick, I just want to point out that the sequence of notes starting from that flat 5 at fret 11 on the G string and ending on fret 15, this to me is kind of reminiscent of the sounds that you can get with the diminished scale. Even though we're not thinking of it as a diminished scale, I'm not using the diminished scale here, but this sequence of 4 notes, it just kind of sounds reminiscent of the diminished scale. So I thought that was kind of interesting to point that out. So there's a quick tip for you. If you are playing something in Dorian, if you add in the flat 5 from the blues scale and you start on that note, you can find this sequence of half whole half notes that are reminiscent of the diminished scale. And what I mean by half whole half is just referring to the distance between those notes. So between the first two, you have a half step. Between the second two, you have a whole step. And then between the last two, you have another half step. Okay, here's the lick in full once again. Okay guys, that does it for today's installment of Spicy Licks. I hope you enjoyed this one. It was a lot of fun for me to make it. And if you did learn something valuable from it, then please do give it a like down below and click the subscribe button to see more content like this from me in the future. Also, if you want to be notified as soon as a new video is uploaded to this channel and you want to be the first person to comment first on any of my videos, then to be within a chance of having that opportunity, all you have to do is click the bell next to the subscribe button. Thank you for watching everyone, and I will see you all in the next one.